what are the 7 signs of awakening? What are the 7 stages of awakening, and what to do if you're going through an awakening to support yourself? So we'll go through each one. Awakening of consciousness is something that we're all going through now on this planet, whether you wanted to or not, because the paradigm is shifting. And the more of us that are awake and aware and conscious, the better world we would have. Think of if everyone were aware and conscious and their hearts were open, the oceans would purify, the wars would end, everyone would have enough. Think of a world like that. The more of us that are awake and living in states of peace and joy and compassion and security, we are points of light. We shift the vibration on the planet. And that doesn't mean we always need to be feeling good, but we're awake, we're aware, we're conscious. We know the difference between a truth and a lie. So my name is Sibyl Harmony, and this is a video about awakening. So I hope you find this valuable. So let's go through the stages. And the best way to support yourself in an awakening is to meditate. Meditate, do guided imagery, have an energy healing, and pray. Okay? All right. So we are shifting, we are evolving as a species, and that's what's happening. We're going from the 12th strand, or the double helix, the 2-strand DNA, to the 12th strand DNA, which many of us used to have in other lifetimes, in other dimensions, in other places, and here on Earth. Okay, so check out my Lemuria video I did a couple weeks ago when I remember times in Lemuria. I remember times being there. But the deal here is on Earth is that when we come into physical body, we forget who we are as spirit, and then it becomes the journey to figure it out. Well, the awakening is changing that. Okay, so first of all, how do you know what are the signs that you are going through awakening? So let's go through the 7 signs. Well, you might be asking, why am I here? You might have a dark night of the soul. You might be asking, is this all there is? So let me explain those. When you're asking, why am I here? What is this all about? You're looking past the usual. What we do is we learn, we're born, we learn to walk and talk, and then we get educated in school. Maybe we have a relationship, we're trained in a career, one hopes, and then, or we're doing something to survive, growing food or whatever it is we do. And then when we start to ask the higher questions of the higher consciousness, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Or is this all there is? And the most of the time, what will happen in this stage, in the first beginnings of the stage of an awakening, is the dark night of the soul. So the energy that we're in, the astrological energy, is triggering the awakening, but also it can be triggered by things like the COVID lockdowns, financial troubles, relationship troubles, going through divorce, people passing. If you know a lot of people are passing. And part of the awakening is becoming unprogrammed and understanding that there is no death. But awakening is like your higher self's way of getting your attention, because you will, if you agreed to be here in this time, you agreed to be here in the time of awakening, and it's not a punishment. So when I went through a divorce, I firmly believed that God was punishing me, and I was really angry at God and Jesus and everybody. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Hindsight is 20/20, but I didn't know that at that time. And so that was part of my awakening of losing what I wasn't forming. You can never really lose love, but anyway. So when people pass, it causes us to go deeper in our grief and in our understanding about, okay, wait, what it causes us to pause and stop and ponder deeper questions about who we are and what's going on here. So that would be the first of like consciousness shifting. Why am I here? What's happening? What's my life purpose? Okay. Number two is the opening of the heart. So we have certain energy centers in the body. There are 7 major energy centers called chakras in the body, from the bottom of the spine to the top of your head. Most people operate in their first 3 chakras, which is spine, which is below the belly. But when you start to open your heart, or you start to open the third eye, you are shifting to a different consciousness. So the third dimensional consciousness on this planet is mostly operating in survival. What do you desire, or control, or being controlled or manipulated, or controlling and manipulating? Okay. So those are the first 3 chakras out of balance. When you come up here, you come into a place of love or compassion, and forgiveness of yourself and others. That's when you start to awaken, or you open the center, you will start your awakening. You will assist yourself in awakening, because we're all meant here to awaken, to become unprogrammed anyway. That's why we're here, because we're in Earth school, and Earth school course now is waking up. Okay, so we're beginning to be unprogrammed by government, corporations, religions, and there are some very beautiful religions. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fear-based or negative programming. There are some wonderful governments. I'm not talking about that. But when we start to become unprogrammed and understand that we are spirit energy in a physical body here in this, we are in this world, in this earth. We are not a person that has spiritual experiences. We are spirit here having a temporary physical experience in these bodies. Okay? So when your heart opens, it is the beginning of opening of your awakening. It is the beginning of your abilities opening, your life opening. Okay? So when we are hurt, and the deal here on earth is that everybody needs to have their heart broken at least once. So the deal here on earth is having your heart broken. So when you have been abused, when your heart's been broken, so here's your heart when you're born. All babies are open. Babies and little children are awake. They're just not integrated. They're not aware that they're awake. Like they'll tell you with just what happened on the other, they'll tell you what God says, or they'll tell you the truth about people, but they don't remember it 5 minutes later because they are not integrated, but they are awake. And then we get programmed and shut down and told that something's wrong with you, or you be afraid, or you're not lovable, or we get abused or something, and so we get our heart broken, and so the heart starts to close. And sometimes we build a little wall, like a fortress in there. Nobody's gonna get in here. Nobody will ever hurt me again. Or we get depressed and it kind of just goes, whoa. Okay, sorry. So however it is, whatever's going on there, when we let go of that, because we are awakening to loving ourselves and loving and compassion, which is, we are on the love planet, okay? And the only thing you can take with you when you go is the love that you shared and gave with others. None of the stuff, none of the money, none of the likes and clicks or whatever's. And most people think, what love am I getting? It's really, you're here to give the love. Okay, so that's another rude awakening I had. Like, oh, I thought I was looking for somebody to love me. When I started loving myself, that changed everything. And that's part of the heart awakening. So many people, when their heart breaks open, they will say, I'm crying, I'm having an awakening. That could happen. You know, I've seen them online going, I'm having an awakening. I've been crying for 3 days, or I cried for 3 days. That is a part of your awakening. And that is very valid. And that's what's happening. So when you let go of that pain or that unforgiveness or that break, whatever it was, that emotion can come gushing out. That can happen. Or you might just feel peaceful and joyful and happy and open, like you're in a state of, it can feel orgasmic. It can feel like you're in a really cool place. Or it can happen slowly where I'm just starting to feel like more peaceful. I'm feeling more peaceful. My heart's open a little bit. You can start to send love to a little puppy or a kitten or a flower or bird or something, or, you know, a little kid. All right. So, that's the heart opening. This center opens too, and this center will open first, and then the third eye will open. And the third eye is more about your ability to be neutral, to be the observer, to visualize, to be neutral to people and situations in your life. So that's a different state of consciousness, but they're both states of consciousness. Okay. And so number 3, that was number 2. Number 3 is seeing numbers. Okay. So many people report to me that in readings that I'm seeing the numbers have a message. So 111, 1 are thoughts. Okay. Oneness. 3 are wise souls, ascended masters, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Jesus, Mother Mary. So 3s. 4s are angels. 5s are change. The change is coming. So you have 5, 4, 1. Change. Angels are overseeing you and watching over you, your thoughts. Okay. Change your thoughts to the angels. Okay. So that can happen. You might wake up and see the clock at certain times. So that's a really common one. And number 4 is dreams and visions. So you may feel like you're connecting with spirit. You may have birds or butterflies come close by. You may have prophetic dreams or visiting dreams, or start to remember your dreams. You may start visualizing more. You can also sometimes hear music or song in your head. Your abilities are starting to open, and you may see flashes of light. You may feel angels nearby. You may start to feel like this room or this place or these people feel really not good, and these people really feel good. Or like I said, you get a chill when you hear a song on the radio. So you're starting to open up your abilities. You'll get a download. You'll like, all of a sudden you'll know something. How do you know it? What, are you an expert? Did you do a survey? No, I just know it. Okay. So those types of experiences of opening your abilities. Okay. Number 5, connecting with nature. You may feel guided to be around bodies of water, to be on the earth. You may feel guided to do breathing exercises, which fresh air is outside. You may feel like you want to get sun. And a lot of times we naturally feel, I mean, we did before like nature, but you may be guided to be out in nature because it's going to support you in your process. The inner dignity and divinity of nature brings us into harmony with ourselves. So a desire to want to be around trees or plants or crystals, to work with crystals. Okay. And to change your diet. That's still number 5. Changing your diet. You may feel guided to get rid of the junk food. Or I remember I used to take antidepressants, and I wasn't not depressed. I was just kind of drugged up. And it didn't, so I finally got off that stuff. Do not get off your medication without talking to your doctor. So I'm not saying that, but you may decide to stop smoking or drinking too much or eating junk food or fast food. You may be guided to healthier, lighter diets, more live foods. You may be guided to herbs or alternative things like acupuncture, energy healing. Okay, so you may also be guided to, like I talked about, how you feel around people or places. You may be guided to set boundaries in relationships. You don't want to listen to negative comments, or you don't want to watch those shows anymore, or you don't want to be really around those people, or you take your own car so you can leave if you don't feel comfortable, or you're not always available to people who you feel drained, or because when you're shifting and waking up, the people who are not doing their work, sometimes they don't want you to change because misery loves company, and they may not be doing it consciously, draining your energy or bringing you down. But notice how you feel when you're around people. If they're making you feel tired, or if they're gossiping or being mean-spirited, like you may feel like this isn't really my crowd anymore. You may be better off without them, or at least setting boundaries with them. I feel like, whoever you feel exhausted or tired, or they're angry, and then you start getting angry. So, I had these two clients that used to come together. They were friends, and they used to say, everybody on the Highway 101 is angry and they're driving crazy. And every time we come down here, we have problems on the freeway. I'm like, I drive on that freeway all the time and I never have problems because I don't have that energy. That was them. They were attracting that, and they were, to a distraction. People do a lot of things to distract themselves from doing their work, getting in drama, eating junk food, taking pills, over shopping, overspending, having affairs, rage, whatever it is that you've been doing, being busy, being too busy, whatever you've been doing to distract yourself from yourself and throw yourself off track will no longer seem attractive. It will become, you'll become aware that, wow, I don't really need to do this or want to do this anymore. Okay, you may take up hobbies and things that you do like, something creative, or cooking really good foods, or gardening, or an art class, or hanging out with more positive people, or doing some spiritual things. So you may feel guided to do that. Enhanced intuition. So we talked about this, and seeing dreams and visions. So you're connecting with your guides more. You may start praying or meditating. You may be guided to join certain groups. You may, I'm teaching classes. Those are coming up they're coming on my website within a week or two, or possibly even sooner. And it's going to be a certification program. So it's going to be really cool for your own awakening, or if you want to work with others. So this is really cool. You should check it out at sibylharmony.com. Okay, so, and we're also going to be developing our intuition. And so clairvoyance, ability to see spirit; clairaudience, ability to hear spirit; clairsentience, ability to feel energy; and cognizance, getting divine downloads, information. So enhanced intuition, you may just feel like, I intuitively know this, and that'll bring us to 7. Knowing truth from a lie, becoming unprogrammed. So if maybe you didn't know how you felt, or what you wanted to do, or what you wanted to do with your life, because if other people, you projected onto you, you're this, or you're that, or you can't do this or that. So becoming unprogrammed and beginning to know, or knowing, like when you hear something like, no, that's not true. That doesn't feel right. Because lies go flat. The truth will, oh, okay, that sounds right. You just get a sense of knowing in your gut, or in your mind, or your heart, like that feels right. That sounds right. It's not because it's what we want to hear, but it's because it's the truth. Okay, so you have to be very brave. You're a brave soul to even be here on earth. You're a brave soul. Here we are in the awakening. So those are 7 signs that can help you. So let's go through 7 stages. So there are different stages in awakening. So we talked about number 1, heart opening. Okay, so that's one of the asking the questions. Who am I? Why am I here? My heart's opening. That is the first stage. That, and along with number 2, dark night of the soul. So you may have lost or be grieving, things are taken away because something else better is coming. So those are the first 2 signs that stages is, well, probably the dark night of the soul. I would say that's first. I have heart opening first, but we'll say 1 and 2, okay? So number 3, Kundalini awakening, rising, and gifts opening and being on your path. So you'll start when the Kundalini starts to rise. You may want to really go out in nature and get grounded or stand around trees or practice grounding exercises. Because what happens is there is, the Akashic symbol at the doctors where you have that pole, the 2 wings, the ball on top, and then the snakes going up the pole. So the pole is your spinal column from your tailbone to the top of your head. The wings are your wings of truth, your angelic nature. The ball on top is the 8th chakra above your head, all your past life information and who you are as a soul. So when you pass out, you leave the body someday, all that information goes up into the 8th chakra and goes to your next life. And the snakes are the energy coming up the pole. So when you start to awaken, what happens is that energy that are snakes, it's not really snakes, but it starts to weave up that pole, activating your chakras, right? Raising your consciousness. And so we are shifting from the 2-strand DNA to the 12-strand DNA. And so when that starts to open, your gifts, your intuition, your higher thinking, your higher self, you're starting to connect to your higher self, which is actually above you, on the other side, here to help you from the future, come back to help you now. You can get that one, okay. So the Kundalini is rising up. That's why it's really important for you to ground. There are grounding crystals. They're little, you get a little black obsidian is a grounding crystal. Go out and hug a tree. I am a shaman and an energy healer, so I have extreme awakening. If you're not a healer or doing what I do, you'll probably just have a little awakening, so don't be worried. You may have physical symptoms and sleep issues, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But for me, the Kundalini went flying up, and I did the Kundalini yoga that triggered it. And I did it on purpose, but I didn't know it was going to be that intense. So when it starts going up, I started feeling like I'm going crazy, and I was having trouble speaking. I couldn't enunciate my words. Clients would come over and they'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I'd be like, So I had to stop seeing clients, and I got a puppy, a dog, and I just went in the woods and just stood and held on to trees because my balance was really bad. So I had an extreme awakening from that happening, and I knew that the only thing that I could do was ground and let it work its way up. But when it did, everything about me changed. I was in a whole different state of consciousness, but that takes time. So I don't suggest doing that, what I did, and you probably won't have that experience. However, in number 4, okay. No, so in number 4 is needing time alone, but in number 6 will be physical sensations. So these aren't necessarily in order, and sleep issues. You may have digestive issues. So we'll talk about that, or sleep issues. So we'll talk about that. But the Kundalini is coming up, so you want to ground, okay? Sit on the earth, lay on the earth, do grounding exercises, meditate, okay? So number 4 is needing time alone. So we talked about how you may start to notice how people feel and about your energy and about grounding and this, your heart opening. So when all this is happening, you may need time by yourself. So I needed time by myself so I could know how I felt. I still take time by myself. It's sacred time. So you may want to give yourself sacred time. If that's not an option for you because you have, to take days or weeks by yourself because you have obligations or family members you're caring for, even 5 minutes by yourself, sitting in the backyard, and tell people I'm taking a nap, or go and meditate, for 5 minutes, for 20 minutes, take a walk by yourself, enter silence, practice entering silence, and really just breathing and tuning into how you feel, and give yourself time. You need time by yourself when you're going through awakening, okay? And be very, I would be very like a mother bear, like protect your time alone. Don't let, because when you start to do that, a lot of times all the boundary invaders, and they don't do it on purpose necessarily, they just think you're usually always there. Where are you? So they'll start calling you or asking you for things. The minute you set a boundary with the universe like this, that's when your phone starts to ring, okay? It's like a little test. So be very protective. Do not let anybody steal that from you. That's your energy, your life force. You need time alone, okay? And you need quiet time. Without the TV and the social media, you need time. Quiet, okay? So manifesting, you will find that it's easier to manifest. You will find that you're understanding that everything is just energy, and you can pull it towards you or shift it away. So your ability to manifest, as you become more in tune with yourself, you'll be taken care of. You'll be guided. Manifesting is a stage of awakening. As you you open your heart, clear your energy through this process, ground yourself, you'll be more easily able to manifest what you want and need. Okay, and then we talked about physical symptoms, sleep, digestive issues. A lot of times people call me, I have aches and pains, I'm waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning. These are all signs of awakening or digestive issues. So you may be guided to change your diet, and you may need to get checked by a doctor, but do not start taking sleeping pills, please. That'll shut down and prolong the process that needs to happen naturally. Get out and get direct sunlight in the morning. Within that first hour when you're awake, or get a light box if you're in a dark area. You need sunlight. You need some walking and exercise, looking at your diet, and getting energy healings, and getting a session or going to a counselor will help you kind of sort things out. Journaling is good to kind of clear out all the mind clutter so you can sleep at night, okay? And just understand that your body's going through a process of awakening. If you get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, it's a great time to meditate. 20 minutes of meditation, of true meditation, is like 2 hours of sleep. So, and also if you get that early morning sunlight, it'll help you sleep that night. Getting sunshine, exercise, and or watching a sunset will really kind of naturally close down the chakras so that you can sleep better, okay? 7, is service, awakened, healed, joy, peace, understanding there is no death, and living in balance and harmony in a world that is out of balance. That you can be the rock, the center for yourself, and in that way for others as well. Once you are fully awakened, you can help other people without it affecting you. Whereas you may have felt like, oh, I'm so sensitive before, I'm just picking up everybody's stuff like a sponge. And a lot of times I work with people that say, I don't feel well. And then they start telling me about a family member. And I'm like, I think you need to set some boundaries, at least mental and emotional boundaries with that person, because it's making you ill, or the event or something from their past. So we need to cut those cords, clear those cords. And that's what's happening in the awakening process. So therapy, energy healing, guided, are very helpful during all these stages, so that you can come into that stage at seventh where you can be of service to others in ways that are healthy and don't hurt you. And be in your peace and your balance. You are a point of light. Through all this, you're raising your vibration, you're helping everyone else because you're doing your own work. This is why shadow work is really helpful, which brings us to what to do. And we've already been through some of these. I got 7 what to do's, but I'm going to repeat them because they're important. So number 1 is to meditate. That will bring you through your process, help your day go better. It's imperative that you do a traditional meditation daily, or a guided meditation. Running your energy and guided meditations are very helpful. I do those in my classes. And so yeah, and there are more videos coming up on those. Grounded. Ground yourself. Sit on the earth. Visualize, breathe. Start to feel safe. Let yourself be grounded. A good way to ground is just to recognize that you are safe in this moment, all is well, and stop telling yourself those awful stories about whatever. If there's something coming, a bear chasing you down the hill, you'll know to run then, but it's not happening now. So stop all those awfulizing stories, whatever. Ground and breathe. Okay, so we're letting go of the ego. We are grounding, we are breathing, and that's imperative. That's what to do. We talked about changing the diet, healthier diet, looking at what are you putting in your body? What are you putting on your body? Chemicals, your home. Is your home organized? Is your home, you need to get rid of clutter, or stop using toxic soap or something, or perfume is really bad for people, or a lot of dyes and processed things and sugar. And so that's what to do. And those are huge changes. So be gentle with yourself. 4, setting boundaries. We talked about this in toxic relationships. Your energy is precious. It is your life force. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is your life. And it's important for you to set boundaries and take care of your energy. Also to have mercy, know when to say yes to people. I love to say yes to life. Say yes to life. Show up and be there. But also set your boundaries. And your intuition and your guides are going to walk you through this. Ask, walk me through this. That's what to do. Help me set the boundaries. Help me to know. Walk me through this. Okay. Which we would say a type of prayer. Okay. So prayer will help you through this. Okay. Number 5. Continue to connect with nature. We talked about this, connecting with nature, grounding, breathing, taking salt baths, a cup of salt or more in a warm bath, and then rinse it all off when you're done. Soaking I like to soak for 10 or 20 minutes and then rinse it all off. Using crystals. Yeah, connecting with nature, being around. And animals and babies know if you're safe and if your energy is clean. You may feel like you're at some point, when babies started going, when they saw me in the store, I'm like, okay, I must have done something right, because if a little kid's looking at you running away crying, they're not, it's not because you're a bad person, they're seeing the energy that's affecting you is not good. Okay. Same with animals. Animals intuitively know if you're safe. Do you trust yourself? If you don't trust yourself, how can anyone else trust you? Trust yourself and tell the truth and show up and set boundaries and connect with nature. Okay, number 6. Energy healings. Okay, do your shadow work. Clear out the old abuse, the old the issues, the past lives, all the heavy stuff that just never, it's time to let that go and to stop telling yourself you're not good enough or you can't do it or you're a victim or there's nothing wrong with you. You're just clearing out, you're growing up, you're letting go of negative energy. Okay. And number 7, be of service to others. There's always somebody who's doing worse than you, and it can make you feel really good to help them out. So be of service to others, and give back, which is really the greatest thing you can do on this planet, is to always come from loving compassion for people. Even when you're setting boundaries, you can do it in a loving and positive way and an honest way. So service is actually, when you feel like you can be of service to others, it's because you have reached a place in your awakening where you have come to a place of peace and feeling sure about who you are and why you are here and what you are doing, and that you understand that the most important thing you can do is to be compassionate to other human beings here. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe to my videos. It really helps to get my work out there and supports me. And so I really appreciate this. And you are everything. I'm sending you so much love. You make this channel happen. And once again, check out my classes. They're coming up soon. Also, I have a members channel. Every other Saturday, I have members and I answer questions on there. That's on a desktop or a laptop. You can't do it on your phone, but desktops and laptops, there's a join button. You can click on there and join the party there. All right, the awakening party. Okay, take care. Bye for now.